Chappelle Jones show. We want to see your face. Let me see your face.
Microphone check. Microphone check. Your boys are back in the building. Not the normal. Not with the normal energy tonight.
We've never had the normal energy.
We're not in the normal sports talk. Hey man, people are a little mad right now. You know, I'm on some.
Who's mad?
I'm on some pretty tone stuff right now. How y'all folks doing, man? How's everybody doing?
I'm at the garage.
Like,
y'all made the call and I came. I wasn't even going to do this today. It's not the time for talking sports, but we ain't talking sports.
You want the intro?
No, it's too late.
Let's go right with it, man.
It's too late, man.
Microphone check. Microphone check. Hey, it's the world's most popular barbecue talk, barbershop talk, man cave conversation. However you like it or dislike it, it's the heavyweight champs of your sports talk podcast. Your boys are back in the building. Opinionated Facts. I got my man with me, the red-headed assassin, man that gets the pop in the old head community, Mr. Red himself, and Mr. S. Rudolph. How you guys been, man? Let's start this thing off right. How everybody doing?
Been great, man. Come on, I can't focus with not being able to see your face. Pause. But I need to see your face.
My face
you're messing this up for everybody.
My face is beautiful, man. But you know what? I'll join you.
I don't know.
I'm already the best looking guy in the podcast, but you know, you guys want to.
From a dark skinned point of view, maybe.
There we go.
Oh,
let me get my
angles.
angles.
Never mind. You got a face for radio.
My angles. How you guys doing, man? It's been a rough week.
It's been a rough 2020. What are you talking about? It's been a rough year. It's been a rough 5-6 months.
2020 is messed up, yo.
This is going to be in the history books, yo. Like, my grandkids are going to be reading about this in history class.
They're definitely going to be reading about this.
There's no way they're not going to be, yo. There's got to be.
Did you guys, and I don't even want to touch on this because this is like a sore spot for me. But did you guys see the autopsy leak of Kobe Bryant?
I called you about that.
Yeah, but I saw it today for the first time.
I told you that's a tough read, man. If that ain't for the faint of heart.
Yeah, it was. Oh man, it was rough.
I wish I didn't read it when it came out. Like to see about where his daughter was, where he was.
Because like everybody felt like he went down in his daughter's arms. They probably went down together. Like they said, she was way over here. He was in a ravine. He had limbs missing.
Said his arm was off.
Yeah, limbs. I said limbs. What do you think that means?
I'm just saying. People might not understand what limbs mean. Like they said his arm was off.
So it wasn't his only limb off. He had other body parts off.
Yeah, it hurt me, man. It hurt me to the core to read that. Like that stuff shouldn't have to come out.
And you see how they had to identify him by dental work and tattoo.
Yeah, it was like 30% of his body was burned.
Man, they had to identify him by that. Man, he was the only black person on the plane besides his daughter.
Well, you're burnt, Brad. You don't have a color no more.
It was only 30% of his body.
I don't believe. Maybe that was burnt to a. I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah, it's too much detail. Probably chill out.
It was a tough read though, because they were. I mean, it was ugly. But what do you expect from a helicopter crash? I mean, that's real life.
I don't think anybody should have to endure that. I don't think anybody's family should have to read that when it comes out. Like, we were fine not knowing.
The thing was, you got public people that want to know that probably was intoxicated. They wanted to do lawsuits. So when you do stuff like that, that's the kind of stuff that comes out. But I've seen car accidents at way less impact at way lower speeds than a helicopter, and people get pretty mangled, man. So, I mean, I wasn't surprised. It's just a tough read.
All right, so how long are we going to pretend like nothing else is going on in the country?
I mean, we're not going to pretend on nothing. I mean, we're obviously all bothered by it.
We can talk whatever you guys want. You can talk about it whatever you guys want. You want to talk about sports? We can leave the fact that people are protesting out. We can do wherever you guys want to go with it. I'll go anywhere. I can make an argument for anything.
No. I mean, obviously, you can't even focus on sports right now with everything that's going on with the whole just being black in America right now. And we could say George Floyd, but
That's a lot of people though, man. It's
I'm about to say this.
Jewish.
Yeah, this is the third incident in like less than a month here.
This is coming to a head, man. It's been coming to a head for a long time, and the thing is, like, I don't like the looting either, but it's all from the actions of a couple cops. And I always say that, cops take an oath, and you got to hold them to that standard. You got to hold them to the standard they took an oath for. It's not an easy job, and anybody shouldn't be able to do it. But if you do it, you got to be held to this standard. And when you have people trying to find reasons all the time for why somebody did something, instead of holding people to a standard, this is what it happens. And we always look for a reason why, this guy had this on his record, or this guy might have been reaching, instead of holding cops to a certain standard. And now we see the actions that one cop has. One cop cost this country millions of dollars.
I mean, you say one cop, but there was 4 there, and the 3 that stood idly by and did nothing. Why this guy died? They're responsible as well. So when you say one cop, yeah, he put a knee on his neck, but the other 3 cops didn't do anything to help. They didn't do anything to save him. They were participants.
Yeah, I'm not defending them. I just feel like I'm holding the guy with the knee on the neck accountable the most.
But I think they all took that oath to protect and serve. If they seen that one of their guys in blues doing wrong, then they're all doing wrong. They don't say nothing.
Is it worth not arresting the 3 and arresting all these Americans that are protesting? Like, it seems like we should be focusing on arresting the wrong 3 people.
Well, they're saying like the protesters are protesting, and that's fine. The looters are looting. There's different groups. Like, I don't believe that the people that are actually protesting and want to protest and do it peacefully, they're not doing anything wrong. It's the people that they're the opportunists, the ones that are taking advantage of the people protesting while the cops are busy handling that side. They're running in businesses like Rainbow and Versace and Louis Vuitton and emptying out the stores. Those are opportunists.
Here's the thing
they're not protesters.
About. And it's I've seen some like beautiful video, man, stuff you would never see. I've seen the police chief of Houston out there. I've seen cops leading the marches. I've seen chiefs and mayors giving speeches to whole groups of protesters. And it was beautiful, but all we focus on, well, not all we, because mostly it's one channel. And now they try to make it an Antifa agenda or it's terrorists, and that's not the message that should be coming out of this right now.
I think it's not just Fox though. Like, I know you said you didn't say the channel, but I know you're talking about Fox. But CNN, I mean, they cover what they feel like covering as well. They don't do the best job either. Like Killer Mike said on, like, when they ruined the CNN headquarters down there, where they ruined the sign or whatever, and Killer Mike says, "Karma's a bitch." CNN. He was talking to CNN because he was saying they instilled fear in people. I don't know if I agree with him. That's just what he's saying. That was his view.
I didn't pick one network, and you could turn to any network. There's not just CNN. You got Headline News, you got MSNBC, CNNBC, ABC News, NBC News, WGL. But you got one network pushing an agenda about Antifa and looters, when I don't feel like that's the message we should be putting out there. The looters, nobody's defending the looters, but that's not. During the daytime, you see some, very peaceful protests.
That's the media. I mean, the media is you're gonna promote the negative or the stuff that's going to get views. Nobody wants to watch positive stuff. So we could blame the media, but we're watching it, and everybody else is watching it.
I'm not gonna lie,
what people are watching.
It's been very hard to turn off.
Yeah, I've been watching nonstop.
At times I get a little tired, but honestly, in the last few days, it's all I've been watching. Or if I ride downtown to my own city, I see it. Or I mean, I was down there the other day, and it was pretty peaceful. Actually, it was very peaceful. I don't think I even felt like it was going to get violent until I believe it was last night when I was down there, and they had like 100 state troopers in a parking lot on Prince Street. They had Prince Street completely blocked off, and a lot of them, honestly, there were kids. These weren't adults out. These were kids. Like, I'm saying, under 18.
And the thing is, this is a perfect storm. You got people unemployed, 40 million Americans without work. You have kids not going to school from home, and they just got out of school. You had beautiful weather, and you had a weekend. So this was the perfect recipe for what happened over the last 3 days.
But I tell you one thing, Donald Trump didn't help nothing this earlier.
Has he ever?
I know, but you've been so silent for like the last 4 days. You thinking
he hasn't been silent? He's been tweeting nonstop.
Yeah, he tweets a little bit, but I'm saying he hasn't come out with a statement. We haven't seen him. He was in his bunker. He was scared in his bunker. What yesterday, the day before yesterday, he was in his bunker scared.
That's why that's why he left today out of the front door, because he heard that people said that he was scared and he had to be rushed to his bunker.
Yeah,
so that's why he wanted to walk across the street today and
that's
do
why
all that stuff.
That's why they
got
violent.
That's not his decision. Usually security says, "Yeah, you're going in. You're kind of just going in."
Nah, because you seen that the president gets the last word, whatever he wants to do.
Not really with security.
Yes, with security, they get the last word.
Well, let's not waste time on Trump and talk about where do you see this going? Like, what can we do, or what's going to be the final outcome to get people to stop actually coming out here and protesting? And people that are watching, make sure you chime in, because we want this to be like a community type discussion right now.
Here's the most beautiful thing about this one, and it's a shame I gotta say this one, but this has turned into a worldwide people issue. This ain't a black issue no more. Because every protest I see, that's 50% white, Spanish, black, every race is out there. Downtown Lancaster was at least half white. Philadelphia, New York, Minneapolis is only 6% black. I mean, there was a lot of white people out there. This is a people issue, and this is why I think this one's going to be around for a while, because nobody can watch that video and not, if you're not disgusted by it, then it's a you problem. And Kaepernick wanted to do the peaceful route. He took the knee, and people, that wasn't enough for people. Now this is what we have to do. This is violence, and that's unfortunate, because that's not what I'm trying to promote. I wanted peaceful protests, but the people had it one way, and it wasn't enough for them.
I don't see. Go ahead, Rhett.
Go ahead.
No, just in general, with the people who are the looters or whatever, or the people who are not following the right rules, can you blame them for being this mad right now or this frustrated?
No, not after all this time. No, I think at some point, yes, there needs to be an end point to maybe the violent part of it. The protest they could do forever. They could do until they see change. The protest it should never stop unless we see a difference. But at some point, like all the looting and all that, they have to get that under control, I believe. I mean, because it's only hurting people in our community when stores are getting trashed. Like there's people that can't go to the pharmacy to pick up their medicine because stores are being looted. That kind of stuff.
I'm not combining the loot and the protest.
I agree with you, but they're running hand in hand right now because they're happening at the same time. They're happening in the same area.
There's a few people messing it up for a lot of good people. And that's why I was worried about the weekend, because I felt like we had a good peaceful protest in Lancaster the way it should be done. But if one idiot threw a brick, it was going to be mayhem. And I was just hoping that wouldn't happen in our city.
And it happened.
Let me get to the comments real quick, though. We have Kanisha Wright Carter. Shout out to the little sis. Lieutenant Morant marched with the people today in Lancaster.
He marched the last 2 days, I believe.
Good for that. That's what we need. And that's a big part about Lancaster's protest that's been well for the most part. We had the mayor down there. We had our city council leader was down there. So the leadership is there, and they're interacting and they're trying to answer the people's concerns. Melissa Carter posted, "This country been on the verge of a meltdown for a long time. There is no point of return here if they don't arrest all these cops and convict them. There will be no peace."
And here's the biggest problem with that.
Nice haircut you got, man.
Until we start convicting, there's not going to be no peace. But the thing is, you got to find 12 jurors to do this. And that's the hardest part, because it takes it out of everybody's hands. It's in the hands of 12 jurors, and they don't convict cops.
It's true. Continuing on through the comments, Patrick Wider said, "Looking good, guys." Hey, thank you. I do,
Well,
take
he got a
pride in that.
haircut. He got a haircut. It's different for him.
David Tinker said, "Watching y'all is better for my mental health than watching the media." Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Keep up the good work, fellas. Amelie Schaefer said, "These cops are instigating peaceful protesters as well. Also, there are a lot of white people taking advantage of the opportunity to loot and burn SHIT."
Shout out to Amelie, man. I see Amelie a long time.
Yeah, definitely. Big shout out to Amelie. She's been on the front lines of this thing on social media.
Yeah. When I say looters, I'm not saying black people. I want to get that 100% correct.
No, definitely not black people.
This is not a black issue. The looters have been mixed. The protesters have been mixed. I've seen every race out there walking the walk and talking the talk. And yeah, saying this is beautiful because it's not a black issue. It's a people issue.
That's the biggest thing I saw with this specific protest is, like you said earlier, is it's not just a minority thing, and it's not going to change if it's just a minority thing. Like, people don't really care what black folks think. I mean, we see that over the last couple years, but if we get other races involved and everybody involved, then yeah, I mean, we could possibly make some change.
Man, there's been.
Go ahead, Brandon.
There was something that happened to me today at work, and it goes to Samar's point about, like, it's a people thing, because I was in Manheim Township. We're all familiar with the area. We all familiar with Manheim Township.
People might not be.
Well, it's a suburban area. We'll just say that. And I was doing some work out there, and this lady, she came across the street. She just was like, "Everything okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, everything's fine." She said, "Okay." So she went back to her house. I came back out later on, and she came over, and she had a container in her hand, and she handed it to me. She said, "Well, you're out here working late. It was like 5:00." She said, I'm sorry you have to work late today. But here's dinner when you get home. Here's dinner for you. It was in a container, like a glass container or whatever. Now we're in that area where you can't really eat anything from people's house. So, I mean, I typically wouldn't anyway. So I told her, nah, no, thank you. I appreciate it. She's like, "No, please take it. It's the least I could do for everything that's going on right now." And she started to cry. So I'm in a bad place. I don't know where to go from this. Like, why is she crying? And she took off. She handed me the thing, and she took off back across the street because she didn't want to really. I already seen her tear up, but she didn't really want me to see it. So then I put the food in my truck. I had to keep it then. I was invested. Like, I didn't want to be rude. So then came back out later. I was about to leave, and she waved at me across the street. And she came back over, and she said, "I'm fine now. I'm better." She said, "I want to apologize." She said, "I didn't mean to start crying like that." And I said, "No, it's fine." She's like, "It's just, I've been so close-minded to all this stuff for so long." She said, "I'm from the DC area. I raised my kids down there. They now live in Philly, and they're protesting. And they had called me and they said, 'Mom, why didn't you ever make us aware of stuff like this? And why did you give us so much and never, like, show us this important side of what's going on and what these African American people go through?'" And she started to cry again. I said, "Look," I said, "it is fine. I mean, we need more people like you." I said, "I really appreciate you giving me the food." And then she said, "Have you ever experienced anything like that, anything racist from cops and stuff like that?" And I said, "Yeah, I mean, I have a few times." I told her a couple stories, and then she started to cry again. And I was just telling her, like, "Look," I said, "people like you, that's what we need to help us." I said, "So you give me hope." And but it was just like, for her to say that she's been, like, so close-minded to it, and she didn't know that we were actually going through these kinds of things, and these kinds of things were going on. And now that she's so much more aware of it, she's going to do whatever she can. She said she's going to donate money, and she's going to, she has to go down to Philly with her son to protest. She's going to do that. Like, she seemed 100% genuine. And that's exactly the kind of folk we need.
Same thing, something similar, but not exactly the same. But I've had some heated debates at work over these issues in the past. One time I felt like I lost my cool a little bit. I tried to do that in an argument with people when you're the only minority because it loses your point. But I was driving to work, the day after the video got released, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not talking about it today. I just don't want to talk about it. And I walked into work. I didn't say nothing. And one of the guys, and I'm cool with though, but he's been on opposite sides of it. He said, "Hey man, I saw that video, man. And that shit. Sorry about the cuss." He said that really bothered me. It was hard to watch, and he volunteered it. And just that, I was like, yo, this is something different now because people I debate with on issues, they try to find reasons. They're like, you know what, man? Just hey, I saw the video and it hurt. It hurt. So that makes it different, man. And just being a firefighter, I have a unique perspective on it because just being pulled over with state plates and the treatment I got now that I didn't get before, and I never committed a crime in my life. So it's just I've seen both sides of it.
Well, Emma, I want to say something that we have a comment from Amelie again, and she said about okay, she now recognizes it, and that's great, but come on, like how does she not know this is going on? But and maybe ignorance, maybe on her part, somewhat. But if you never experienced it, you don't believe it to be true. Like if you don't see it happen, or you don't experience yourself, you don't see it to be true. If you live in a certain place, or you come from a certain place, you may never come encounter with anything that looks like racism. I mean, I personally, when I was young, my first job I ever had, I worked with this girl. She was 19. Her name was Heather. She was from Solanco. Tamar, you probably remember her. The first black person she ever seen in person at 19 years old was when she started that job. Prior to that, she's never had to come in contact with a black person. So I think it's more of an ignorance thing or out of sight, out of mind than it is how do you not know? I mean, like,
well, that's the thing I would say. Like, it's not like we don't have to, like, white people shouldn't have to, and I don't know if it's wrong to say or right to say, I don't know, but you shouldn't have to go out of your way to raise your family. And like, as long as you're not racist and you're not teaching racism or like you're the superior race to anybody, it shouldn't be like an issue. And like the lady was just raising her family probably. Like she really didn't think it was a black white thing or nothing like that. She probably never really thought about it until she saw this thing on the news that got 24-hour attention. But she was just raising her family, going on and just just trying to do the best she can to provide for her family without even thinking about like what black people go through on a daily basis. So how do we expect them to go around and be like, hey, you got to be cognizant to what black people are going through on a daily basis? Or are we wrong? Or are we demanding too much to ask white people to do that?
Well, to answer your question, B, and I had a point about making it because I work with a lot of people now that never been around black people their whole lives, and they're not racist. It's ignorance because they don't know and they didn't try to learn, and you can't really expect them to because we don't do that. We don't embrace ourselves in white culture if we don't know. We don't go ask questions.
Yeah, we don't have a reason to. It's like we don't.
And if you don't, like I got a good friend of mine that said he never been in the city except to go to Park City, and he used to go on Route 30. He wouldn't drive through the city. And the only thing you ever seen about black people is the news and movies, and it's never nothing positive.
I always said that, man. Hollywood and Hollywood messed up black people for a long time.
Think about this. Every person I know, white or black, seen Boys in the Hood, but how many seen Great Debaters?
Yeah.
Nobody's seen Great Debaters. Not even a lot of black people. So the positive black movies that come out that show black people or minorities in a good light, they're not popular. Nobody sees them. Everybody sees Boys in the Hood. Everybody sees Don't Be a Menace. Everybody sees Friday. And that's what you learn about black people, and that's all you know.
Let's get to some more comments here. Melissa Carter said, this is not about George Floyd, not just that's just the tip of the iceberg. People are fed up with the lack of leadership and the inability of the leaders to hold people accountable who are sworn to protect. David Tinkett said, protests that lead to people coming together and demanding change. We need better trained, better educated, and better paid police. That's a good point.
Absolutely.
Like what qualifications do you need to be like?
But do you
policemen.
think that's another question? You can ask you. Either one of you guys can answer this. Do you think it's a lack of training and knowledge? I think it's just police. They pass the training part. They do all that, but they can still go out and do whatever it is they want. Is that not the case?
No, I'll give you the answer, Brandon, because I have you a little unique because I work in the city where they're trying to hire cops and firefighters, and I've been on these programs where they're trying to hire people from the city, and I think it's there's a couple main reasons. One is a lot of minorities don't want to be cops. That's the biggest issue. It's because we grew up, thinking of one way of the cops, and we don't want to feel like we're going to be a cop in a community where we might have to arrest people we grew up with. That's a big issue. Second issue is people not from the community trying to police the community that never been in the community. So you have a guy that comes in here from, say he comes from outside Coreyville or anywhere outside the city, never been in the city, and all he knows about black people is what we just talked about, the news and movies. And now he has to see, police black people where he's kind of not afraid of them, but he's leery. Or where you get guys from the city that there's cops from the city, I ain't gonna say their names on here, and they don't have those kind of problems in the city because they know the people. And they know this because I go down in this part of the city, don't mean these people are criminals, don't mean they're bad people.
Well, Mayor Sriracha made a good point yesterday when she was speaking to the crowd down in Lancaster. They called her out like, well, we need to hire more police officers of color. She said, we want to apply.
They do.
Like, she said, we don't have the candidates and we don't have people to pull from. He says, we want you to, so apply and get out there and do it.
Y'all saw me on Facebook last year doing ad programs. You saw me on WGL. You saw me on Fox News doing all these advertisements to get minority firefighters to apply. And we didn't get nobody to apply.
I mean, I told you before that I'm not running in a burning building.
And a lot of black people do feel that way. Like I said, I'm not running in the building.
I get it, man. Like I'm first responder too, but it's different for me.
I would never apply to be a cop in my life. I would never thought about it. I still wouldn't think about it. Like I never wanted to be a cop, and I wouldn't be a cop.
You can see like the differences. Like I work with mostly. I mean, I'm probably one of 5 African Americans at my job or so. I'm maybe not even that many. And like this. So I inspect these projects, and they were sending these guys up, the contractors up to Harrisburg. And the one guy was I don't want to say he was afraid, but he was timid about going to Harrisburg. And he's only ever heard stories. He never really worked up there. And he says, the only way I'm going up there to do that job is if Brandon's my inspector. And I, at first I kind of laughed because, it was somewhat funny when I went home, I kind of thought about it. Like, he thinks because I'm black that I'm going to be able to protect him or people ain't going to bother him.
No, they do.
And right away, so the next day I went back into work and I said, no, I'm not doing it. Not because I wanted him to feel like he could go up there and work with anybody. If I go up there and cater to how he felt about it, I felt like I was just crippling him. He had to go up there with somebody else and see what it was like and see that nothing happened and everything's fine to be able to like, you know what? Nah, I'm cool. I'm good. I can go anywhere. Like I didn't want to be that person. Like I felt like I was going to cripple him by saying, you know what, I'll do it if he's scared. I didn't want to do it, so I said no, I'm not doing it. I don't know if I was wrong. I don't know if I was wrong for that or not, but that's just how I felt.
Melissa Carter asked, like, why are they scared to come into the city? And I would go back to Samar's statement about how we're viewed. Like we're viewed we're viewed as athletes or gangsters. Like that's all they see on TV. And if you never encounter a black person on a regular basis, that's what you see on TV. On the news, it's either drugs, guns, crime, or we're scoring a basket.
Look at WGL. First 10 minutes, it's always shooting, stabbings, York, Harrisburg. And you don't get nobody really cares about positive news. You don't get no views on Lancaster Online with that.
Yeah, so that's why people are scared to come in the city when they see, minorities, and they think like they equate city with minorities, and then it's just a mess. Not knowing that, the firefighter, he don't make it on TV. The teacher, he's not making it on TV. There's not gonna be movies about us. You know what I mean? Like it's just gonna be. You got to figure that part out. That's you got to figure that life out.
I had
And people just don't
coworkers
see
that
that.
used to drive home with the windows up and the doors locked in the summertime because they were scared of driving through certain neighborhoods.
Yeah, see,
In
it's
Lancaster City, where I don't even think it's that bad.
It's
not bad at all.
bad at all. Yeah, no,
It's
It's
not
not
bad at
really.
all.
not bad at all. I don't understand it.
I take it to a story back where a friend of mine moved here from Philadelphia, and he's like, "Oh man, it's nice down here. I live in a nice area. I live in the suburb." And I said, "Where you live at?" He said, "On Green Street." And I
Yeah.
was like, but he was like, I was like, well, people would say, people are afraid to go to the southeastern cities. They don't know the city. And he's like, compared to some of the neighborhoods in Philadelphia, to him, that what we consider our bad area, which I don't think is bad, he's like, oh man, this is the suburbs.
I'll tell you what they think is nice if you're from Philly. The dudes I went to school with. So all my friends when I was in school were all from Philly. And my roommate in college, he was from Philly. He was from Northeast. And they used to always get on him about being from Northeast. And I don't know. I didn't know. And apparently he said the one dude cracking on him and kept going. He was like, man, you got lawns. They got lawns in Northeast. The only reason why he said his house is this guy lives in a good area or he's not from the hood is because he got a front lawn. Literally a little square patch. He showed me a picture of it. There's a little 10 by 10 square patch out front of his house. And because he had that little patch of grass, he was from Northeast. That's a different area.
So
hey, look, man, I went to go visit you in Baltimore, B-Way, and you wanted to go down and see the area with the wire. They're like, yo, no, it's not a game.
Nah, we drove down there. That was one of the worst hit areas I ever seen.
If you drive down by John Hopkins, you see like real hoods. Nothing in Lancaster is like that. Where you see, even when me and you we went to Cleveland, Brandon, and we drove to get some food. We went to go to the hood
across that bridge.
Yo, you go across the bridge, and it was like you might get one house on the block that ain't boarded up.
It was night and day. Like you go to the city, you go across that bridge, you go into downtown. They have the flats, they have everything. They have Quicken Loans Arena. But you cross that bridge, what, 3/4 of a mile?
Man, it was
instant change.
You went from like nice area to about, like you said, a half a mile, and you went boarded up. Maybe somebody lives there, burnt out.
You know what? That's Atlantic City. You ever go down to Atlantic City? You go down to the Popeyes right from where all the casinos are. It's like a block and a half down the road, but it's a different world. And so everybody will come into Atlantic City. They'll all hit the casinos, their favorite spots, walk all along the casinos. But then they won't, a block and a half down the road, they won't get dinner down there.
So what do we think can improve community relations between, cops and the citizens and the minorities?
We need a seat at the table, B. We need a seat at the table. It starts at the voters box. People think they can just, all you can do is walk. You can just protest and then everything's going to change. But you still have these legislators and everything. You got to show up I hope all these protesters show up to vote in November.
I said that.
They got to show up.
They can vote tomorrow. Vote tomorrow.
Oh, they got to vote tomorrow. The primary's tomorrow. It starts at the ballot box, man. Like that's exactly.
November is more important, though, man. We got to get people out to vote. I don't care who you vote for. Vote, like Obama said. Vote.
You don't have an argument if you're not voting.
If we don't have a seat at the table, all the protesting doesn't matter.
And that's what hurt Kaepernick is that, everybody wanted to stand with him. And then when the election came and he's like, nah, I ain't voting. Like that hurts us.
Yeah.
You got to vote.
You got to get out and vote. I said the same thing. Like we need them people, everybody that's down there in the city right now that is protesting. We need you voting tomorrow. We need you voting again in November.
Look, I'll give out rides, whatever. Like whatever people need. I got to pick you up or what? I see. That's the thing. I will though. I don't care if it's 4 people or 40 people. I'll take off work. I'll drive back and forth all day. Whatever. I will drive people. Just go.
Lancaster City election.
Within walking distance everywhere you live. You can vote. If people want to vote, they can vote. It's not a lack of transportation. I don't think. Lancaster
City election is decided by one voting precinct. That's it. Like one voting precinct decides, and that's just because people don't come out to vote in the city, and nothing's going to change if we don't come out and vote. Amelie made a good point here.
Go ahead, Lee.
Amelie's on a roll, man. I mean, she's always.
I told you she was on the front lines, man.
Yeah, she was good people. She's always been good people.
And that's why I think going to McCaskey, you know, it set you up for this in life. It made me ready for life because I was in these mountain pot classrooms my whole life. That's what McCaskey does for you. It was not. We didn't really have race issues because there were so many different races.
He makes a good point. I said this before as well. He said, my guess is white people strategically created that setup. Those neighborhoods set up that way. Talking about the neighborhoods that are set up with a systematic way where minorities are placed in bad neighborhoods. It started. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish your point.
No, I was just saying how it over years, you know, we started out in these urban settings where we were all a family and you know, things were easy to access for everybody involved. And then them places weren't given the resources over the years to keep up on good housing and stores and department stores and things like that in the neighborhood. And everything started moving out and leaving some of these neighborhoods to just fall apart. That's the only point that I was making with the whole neighborhoods and us just being in bad situations.
Yeah, and I'm not the type. We had these conversations in private before. They like to pass the buck and pass the blame. We got to be accountable for some of our own actions. Like I have friends, close friends. You know, I'm not gonna say their names, where we all lived in the same house and wanted to vote, and some didn't go with us. Like, nah, I ain't going, man. Like, some of it got to be on us, man. We got to be accountable. We got to go vote. This is a liberal country. It's not even close. If everybody in this country voted, it wouldn't be close. You know, the Democrats won the election by 3 million votes, but we still have a Republican in office. Gotta get out and vote, man. We're a liberal nation, liberal leaning nation.
Yeah, but they don't vote. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, and that's not a black. That's a us problem. That's not anybody else but us.
But that's the thing, man. They do. They come out for what they want to come out for. So, like when Barack first ran, we made sure he got elected. I mean, everybody showed up.
But when you get into politics, not to interrupt you, Brandon, but like B-Way just ran a couple of years ago. When you get into politics, you start to realize that it's not the general election; it's the little elections that affect you the most, or the ones at your house.
Exactly.
Your local politics, and if you get 4,000 votes wins the election in a city that has 60, 70,000 people, in a county that has 500,000 people, come on, man. What's that say about us?
So are you guys, how do you feel about, like, today was the first time, like, these college coaches came out and started speaking on and started touching on this stuff?
Too late.
It's very late. And I'm a credit Coach Franklin at Penn State because he released something on, what's the day, Tuesday? He released something on Sunday. And it was early. And granted,
who was the earliest, B? So one coach came out before anybody came out. Then they made it fashionable for other coaches to come out.
Who do you have as a first?
Brian Flores, Miami.
Yeah. He came out day of, yes.
He was the first one to say something. He put himself on the line. And then by little, we had a couple coaches. And Goodell came out, Sunday, Monday?
Yeah.
Goodell was too late. Jed from the 49ers was too late.
Yeah, only when they waited for Brian to come out and put himself out there on the line.
You know what I don't like about Jed? I mean, that goes back to the whole Kaepernick thing. But then he wanted to donate money, which I think that's cool. And Eric Reed came out and said, nobody wants your money. Like, I don't know. I don't know if we're missing the point here. Like, I understand where Eric Reed came from. Like, we don't want your money. We just want things that are wrong to be right. But if that's his way of helping, people's way of helping is to throw money at it, are we wrong for accepting it?
This ain't a money issue, I don't feel like. I mean, but I don't want to go in the Eric Reed thing. Eric Reed's mad because Jed York he had say, and all those guys had need, he got rid of.
Yeah.
So you put the money out there, what's it really mean?
I mean, Eric Reed, he lives in a constant state of anger.
What are you putting the money towards?
Yeah, where's it going?
you can't change morals.
I don't know. I'm just saying. That's what I'm asking you guys.
And that's what
do you accept it?
Eric Reed's saying, all right, you want to put money to it, but when you had a chance to put some real faith into the movement, you got rid of everybody that took a knee. Everybody that took a knee was going San Francisco. You can't buy away your problems.
That's a bigger statement. Like cutting everybody, like it wasn't popular then. So that's why he got rid of everybody. Now it's a popular thing. Now everybody sees why Kaepernick.
Let's be clear though, Cap, he didn't get rid of Kaepernick. Kaepernick opted out of his deal.
He did.
So I want to be fair. I'm just saying I want to be accurate.
But he didn't offer them a new contract.
I understand that, but we knew that he wasn't re-signing with 49ers. I'm not going to get into that debate. I want people to know that he didn't cut Cap. Cap opted out of his deal. Thought that he would get a better deal somewhere else. So I want to be fair. I want to be fair to that point.
No, but all I'm saying is that it's a fad now. So now everybody's seeing why Kaepernick was taking a knee, and now everybody's like, "Oh yeah, it makes sense." When we were saying the whole time, it made sense.
Right.
But white people had to get on board with this thing, and they weren't.
No,
Like,
they hijacked it.
Yes.
They hijacked the movement and made it a military thing.
Right.
If you just be a little bit neutral, Kaepernick took a knee for the national anthem, and then he stood up for God Bless America every time. He stood up. He said he was proud of this country, but, he was taking a knee for police brutality. And they hijacked the movement and made it something that wasn't.
I mean,
what are your thoughts on the people that protest at the Capitol with the AR-15s, and because they wanted to get their hair done and they wanted to go to the salons, they wanted to reopen America, versus the people that are protesting for the injustices and George Floyd's and the Tamir Rice's?
This is my opinion on that, and it doesn't really go with the George Floyd one because there's not many people that are fighting back on it. But for every other incident, this is what I always heard: just comply, listen to the cops, nothing will happen. Just comply, he'd be still alive. Those people went up to Michigan and ran into the Capitol. They went to Pennsylvania, and they were in cops' faces because they were telling you, "Hey, stay home and stay healthy." And people were angry, and they were calling cops tyrants and every other name in the book, and in their face yelling. They weren't complying. So it's convenient. When there's something you believe in, then it's okay.
That's a good point. I was wondering how you guys felt about that. It's a good point, Samar.
It's a double standard, and it's always been that way. When we've all seen the videos of white guys getting pulled over and yelling at the cop's face. We saw the judge in Lancaster City get pulled over and hop out the car on Pitney Road, and he said, "You better run these plates."
No. Yeah. That was.
And then we see two forms of justice, and if you don't know what you don't know, so I don't blame people that don't know what's going on. If you never went through it, you don't know about it. You can't just say that somebody should know what black people go through if they never experienced the same thing. But there's two different ways of justice in this country, and that's undeniable.
I mean, I can tell you how I felt initially. So when I know this is not about just George Floyd, but this is how it all started. So, and you can even argue that this ain't how it started. This was just like the icing on the cake. So we'll just say that this is the icing on the cake to the situation of that.
No, this is the straw that broke the camel's back.
Icing on the cake straw. Yeah. Well, I don't eat cake, so. So what happened is Minneapolis. So they don't arrest the cop right away. So had that been you or I on camera, and it don't even have to be me murdering a white person, or it could be anybody. It could be a Spanish person. It could be a black person. If they had me on camera, and I used to watch this show all the time. It was called The First 48. It was the first 48 hours of a crime was like of a murder was the most important. If they could catch him within 2 days, that was golden. That was their thing. So that's why the show was called The First 48. So their attorney general comes out and says it was the quickest we ever arrested somebody in 4 days. And then he says, "Wow, it's the quickest we ever done for a cop." But you had it on video of him murdering someone, and these Minneapolis guys or people, protesters, they had every right to be mad because these guys had more than the 2 days that they usually try to catch a murderer. They had 4 days. They didn't arrest them. They didn't arrest them until stuff started to get a little hairy. They started setting stuff on fire. They started looting. And then they're like, "Oh, well, we'll arrest him. Maybe things will calm down." I don't know if you guys watched the entire video, that whole thing, but when I watched it, and he was George Floyd was non-responsive. Did you guys notice that there weren't EMTs that got out of that ambulance?
Paramedics came eventually.
No, the ambulance came. It was cops that got jumped out of the back of the ambulance, though. Why is that?
Every city does their stuff a little differently. I don't know. Probably they're going to lock them up and put them on the stretcher.
Anyway, that had nothing to do with it. I was just wondering why that was. I was thinking about that all day.
If you watch that whole video, man,
I thought in Minneapolis they had a reason to be upset. So I thought, okay, they're going to go crazy until they arrest this guy, and then maybe they'll calm down. They'll still protest. I
will say this: they fired all four of them. That's the fastest I've ever seen anybody get fired.
How could they not? It was on video. But this guy, this guy without video has did something 17 other times. He's had 18 complaints against him, and he's never been fired. But no one has to know. He shot an unarmed black guy not too long ago.
I agree with you, but
honestly, he should have never been around. That's from people like the police chief, the mayor, to protect this guy. Yeah. He should have been fired. He would have had the chance to kill George Floyd if he was.
I try to be somewhat neutral because, as somebody that works for a union, it's hard to fire him.
I work for a union, and it's hard to get fired. But I tell you one thing: if I got 18 customer complaints against me, I'm getting fired, and no question about it. I'm getting fired. This guy has 18 complaints. I'm talking about it's not just complaints. I'm talking about beating up the people. You're talking about
the force.
Exactly.
I agree. I know.
18 of them.
I agree.
He shot people.
He had a lot
unarmed people, and these guys still has a job. That's not just police. That's police chief. That's mayor. That's a lot of people that have to answer for that. Not just the police.
Police have always been somewhat untouchable.
Well, he should not have a job though. That goes beyond that. He shouldn't have a job anymore. He shouldn't have had a job before. He should have been able to have been fired. And he shouldn't have ever been. He should have never had the job to begin with. Still.
All right. So if they were 4 black cops killing a white guy, how would that look? How would that feel? Would they be arrested now?
A case in point. That cop, I forget his name, but Noor. That's his first or last name. He's from Minneapolis. He shot that white lady. He's doing 12 years.
Yep.
They were mad about that.
They arrested him in like 5 days, and then he gets convicted and does 12 and a half years. He's doing 12 and a half years currently.
Well, he's doing 12 to 20, right? Or something like that?
Yeah. But it was easy because she was a beautiful white woman, and this dude was a black guy.
That's why it's like there's 2 justice systems.
You guys on?
Yeah, we're still here, man.
Yeah, we're still here.
Your thing.
You got cut out for like 20 seconds.
Nah, that's your Wi-Fi. We were still good. Hey, Teddy Riley, you better check your Wi-Fi over there, man.
Nah, but if this was 4 black cops killing a white guy, all of them would have been fired in the same amount of time, but they all would have been going through the court system right now.
I don't want to get into assuming.
I don't want to assume that.
We can assume because we seen it done, like you just talked about. We just seen it done in Minneapolis when the guy shot the white lady. I
don't know enough about that case.
I personally didn't want to make it a black and white issue. I don't either. To make it a black and white issue because I think we're all better together. Personally,
no, I'm not saying that, but it is a black and white issue. You can try to make it that, but that's what it is.
As far as
you're asking B about, you asked earlier, where do we go? What's happening? The thing that's it has to be a people issue for it to move forward. And the reason that everybody's in on this now is why we're moving forward. I feel like when it's only a black issue, nothing ever gets done.
That's wrong. That's what's wrong.
I take it back. I don't want to say it that way, but I'm saying it helps the cause when you have everybody involved.
That's true. But until they start taking black lives seriously, you're going to see this, and then you're going to see people acting up. There's only so much you can take. How many times you going to let somebody kick you?
Police got to take
this though. I agree.
Police got to take.
You and Brandon, though, both of you guys.
Hold on, let me. Oh, go ahead.
Well, because your son was at my house yesterday, and he knew about it a little bit, and I kept Jordan kind of removed. Jordan's 6. 8 and 7. Your son, what, 11 B?
12.
12.
12. How do you guys handle it with your kids? Like, are you telling little Brandon? I mean, little Brandon's old enough to have to see. What about your little Brandon? Brandon? We've got too many Brandons.
I talk to my kids about being black. Like Aiden, and we all know Aiden, he could pass for being white almost. Like he literally could. And I find myself a lot having conversations with him. Like Brandon knows he's black. And we've had spoken about it plenty of times about black and white issues, Donald Trump, stuff like that. So we do speak about that. And Brandon, I hear Brandon sometimes say, I hate Donald Trump. I said, don't talk like that. Because I don't want him to have that hatred. Like, and I don't know if he's hearing it from me. I don't think I've ever said that. But like, I know his pop, which is my father, he hates Donald Trump. I've heard him say that. So I wonder if my son picks it up from that. I don't want him to speak that way. It's okay to dislike him, but then there's another way we got to go about it to handle it. So,
well, I feel like Brandon, because Aiden was saying stuff yesterday, and
because Aiden it's different with Aiden because he looks at himself in the mirror and he says, "Dad, I'm white."
No, he was saying stuff like any black person would say. But I feel like when you say things, kids don't have enough information to be able to back up what they're saying.
No, but I'm saying as far as how he views himself. Because sometimes, for a while there, Aiden didn't view himself as a black kid, and I thought that was my fault. Like I felt like that was my fault because here I am sitting down eating with this kid, my son, this kid sitting down eating with him, and just so happens he comes out and says, "What do you mean I'm white?" And I was so bothered by that. That was probably like a year and a half, 2 years ago. But that really bothered me. Like, man, if maybe I'm not talking to him enough about him being a black kid, eventually being a black man, but just because he looks like the other side, he's half black. So he's going to be.
Brandon's older. Like I didn't have to talk with Jordan yet.
Brandon's different. I already had to talk with him. I already talked.
Jordan don't know yet either. He don't know race.
But Aiden has to. Like I think it's important for them to know. Like I don't want. Like I said, he said to me that he was white, and I was offended because as you look at me, what am I? I said to him, "What am I?" He said, "Well, you're black, Dad." I said, then what are you if you're my son? And he was like, I don't know, Dad. But he got frustrated with the conversation. So now I make sure we always talk about it. We may not talk about the negatives of being a black kid or a black man or whatever, but we talk about just black people in general and him being black and stuff like that. I don't think.
My daughter knows she's black. Like but there's stuff you got to go through with just having a kid. Like she came home from school one day and was like, she wants her hair do this way or something like that. Like one of her Spanish friends had it, and like somebody else came in class and was talking about her hair and like called it nappy or something.
We're 53 minutes in, B.
We're good.
Man, we're quick.
And so, we had to explain to her, what being black and beautiful is. But like about this incident, recently, like me and my wife is sitting here watching the news and my daughter's just in the room watching it, not really paying attention, but she's in the room with us. And she asked us, what's murder? And now we got to explain that. Like, it was like, geez, you know what I mean? So now we got to explain to a 5-year-old what murder is. And it's like, it's just, I don't know. Like, I don't know if
Jordan,
it's right or wrong.
You're not old enough yet. I told him he's not old enough. I talked to him later.
I don't see. That's the thing. I can't agree with that, man. I don't think they're ever too young to know, like where they come from, and where they're headed.
My thing is like Martin Luther King Day just passed in January, and Jordan's in school now. He's in kindergarten, and they're celebrating it. And I didn't tell him all about it yet. I wanted him to be a kid. Like he ain't got to know that he's the only black kid in his class. Yeah, and know it's an issue. It might be an issue one day. I want him to be like it's like the Tooth Fairy or the Santa Claus. Let him enjoy it for a little bit. Let him just be innocent.
Now, my 12-year-old, we had that talk too because he was going to be the only black kid in his class this year. I fully had a full-out conversation about it already. Like, this is what's going to happen. This is how they're going to look at you.
But I feel like
you you had to explain it and prepare him for that. I
feel like if Samar, if you let it surprise him, he'll be even more hurt. Like I don't, and
not hurt.
No, because I mean I really feel that way. I remember, see, my dad grew up in that time. He grew up in that time where, and my dad, if you know my dad, he could pass. He could probably pass for being a white guy. He was just walking down the street. So my dad, if you know my family, all his brothers, they're all dark-skinned men, my uncles. And my dad's best friend in school was a white kid at one point. And that kid asked my dad one time, why you always hang around those black guys? And my dad was young, and he says back to the kid, they're my brothers. And the kid says to my dad, well, they're black. And my dad was like, so what? This kid, when he found out that my dad was actually black, like I said, my dad could pass for being white, stopped talking. Dad said they didn't talk after that.
Yeah,
and that was at a young age. That was his best friend. This white kid was my dad's best friend. And
we talking about the 70s, though. I mean,
yes, I'm just saying. But it doesn't matter. Have times changed that much?
I'm hoping.
Yeah, see, you living off the hope creed, man. That's what I'm saying. I don't think.
No, I really do hope that when Jordan's a senior, that he's not dealing with these same issues.
Yeah, but that's 15 years from now. That's a little.
I'm just saying that's my hope. I hope that it's not an issue that my son is going to be a minority in a majority white school. I'm hoping it's not an issue.
Dr. King said that same thing too. He was hoping too. But
still here.
In your defense, I mean, the high school your son will go to right now has a black principal. So,
what you talk to?
Yeah, Penn Manor has a black. Penn Manor High School has a black principal. Yes.
I didn't even know that.
Well, if he's there, 10 years from now, you'll be in good shape.
I hope.
But
anything else?
We didn't get to none of the topics, but it was good conversation, I feel like.
Yeah, we didn't get to any sports or anything. But look.
Well, we had the JR situation.
Yo, JR. He's always JR from the hood, though, yo. JR is a crazy dude, man.
I'm trying to put myself in his shoes, though. Somebody ran up and punched my window down. I'm going to be mad.
We're all doing that. That's why the story's so funny.
JR's funny, though.
You got to tell the story first. Tell the story first, so everybody knows what we're talking about.
J.R. Smith, former NBA player. He's on the roster right now. Cavaliers with LeBron.
NBA world champ. Get it right. Cavaliers.
J.R. Smith from New Jersey that was going to go to North Carolina. Came right from high school.
You got to add that part in.
A protester with a white kid with a skateboard.
Yeah,
he parked in a residential area. He said away from the protest to go join the protest, and they went out and bashed his windows out. JR chased him down, knocked him over, kicked him like 3 times, and then punched him in the face. And then he got on, TMZ called it. JR got online, said, yeah, I whooped his ass. It wasn't a race issue. I ain't got a problem. I had a problem with me, but he broke my windows out.
I don't see nothing wrong with that.
Nobody does.
Initially, I didn't either. But then I see all these comments online when they're saying, if the roles were reversed and that was a white guy and a black guy kicking somebody while they're down in the face, we probably have a problem with it.
No, not if you bust his window.
Yo, wrong is wrong, man. Ain't got look. He was wrong.
Yeah, but people are going to say a lot of times that blacks were wrong and they still got mistreated. Now, if a black commits a small crime and a cop beats the hell out of him, that cop is wrong. I don't care what that guy did. So if that white kid committed the crime, no. JR kicking him in the face when he was down, I don't know.
If that kid was black, JR would have did the same thing.
Okay, the kid
probably. I'm saying, but
when JR kicked him, did he had fell and JR kicked him, or did he punch him and he fell and then JR kicked him?
He was down and JR kicked him 2 times, and the kid tried to get up and JR kicked him in the face. Then the dude got up and then JR punched him. And then
you know what? The dude should have played dead. He should act like he was knocked out, because they won't hit you no more.
No, JR didn't care. He was mad. He's kicking him. That dude was down like this.
I watched the video 3 times, and I did not once think that JR was wrong. He overdid it or anything. Like, that guy deserved everything he got.
He bust his windows out, though, man.
Look, when I saw the video, I read the article before I saw the video, and I was like, yeah, that's good for him. That's what that guy gets. But then everybody was like going in on him in the comments.
Think about it though. He parks away from the protest, so he's thinking everything's cool. I'm gonna walk down here. I'm gonna join these people to protest. So this kid is not a protester. This dude is just a jerk. To bust somebody's windows out of their car. Forget his JR for a second. This guy parks,
Brandon, real quick.
This guy parks to go join a movement, and you bust his windows out. Yeah,
Brandon,
you stomped.
Think about this. When we were kids, we used to throw stuff at cars, balls, rocks, apples.
Who did?
When all of us were kids.
Who threw it at the cars? You.
We all did. Back in the day when we were like in elementary school.
I ain't never did nothing like that.
So he's lying.
Yo, he over here dry snitching. Yo, this dude.
No, we were in elementary school. Every kid threw stuff at cars.
I forgot you're a city official, yo. Damn.
I said I did too. So elementary school.
We were not in elementary school. We were in middle school. We were going to Reynolds at the time.
Well,
yo, we were just
throw stuff at cars. Either way, imagine a little black kid, middle school or elementary school, threw something at a car. Driving by, a snowball, whatever, broke the guy's window, and that little black kid runs, and the white kid catches him and stomps him out on the curb. We're going to have a problem with it, man.
I mean, we got caught. You remember we got caught by the Puerto Rican dudes.
I did get caught.
I thought they was going. Yo, they was big too, man.
You was in the car the one time when we hit somebody's window, and the guy got out there and chased us with the bat.
Yeah, I was in me, Shay, and Shay's dad were riding in the Geo Metro and leaving the 6th grade dance. He hit the car. He got out with the bat and chased them boys. I thought that was B-Way like 10 years later.
I don't think I'm gonna have a problem with it, man. Like, I don't know. You know what? Because things. I mean, I drive to the city sometimes. Stuff, a snowball might hit my car or something.
I got hit with a snowball once.
I think it's kind of funny. I just was like, yo, yeah. I mean, I did it.
It's like, funny until it breaks your window down.
Exactly, and then we're gonna chase him down.
And if you
JR, absolutely right.
Ass, all I'm saying is it made me think about it at least.
I think JR, it was put in a bad position. Like he's going to join a protest. He parks away from it. I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying, but he was put in a bad position because. Regardless if that kid was white or black, I think if the kid was black and hit his windows with a skateboard, I think JR does the same thing.
No, but I feel like we're celebrating it, and if that would have been a little black kid and a white man stomping him out, we would have had a problem.
I don't think it's celebrating it. I'm not celebrating it. I'm saying
we kind of were like, that guy got what he deserved.
No. I'm saying if it were me, I don't care if the kid's white or black. You bust my windows out. Yeah, like. You know what that's going to be when you do it. You know it's going to be a consequence to that.
You might not care. I might not care, but there's people that would care and make it a race issue.
I can see why they're making it a race issue. I mean, that's cute. But in reality, if any colored man knocks out anybody's car, that person is going to be mad about it.
But I can see some
more. I would overreact then.
I can see some more. Like, I know it'd be in my mind, like, damn, that black kid, man, he just needs some guidance, maybe. Like, in my head, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, you don't want to make no excuses for that, though. Like, damn, where the kid's parents at? You only say that when it's involving, like, black kids. I think that's wrong. Like, nah, that the white kid got his ass whooped, black kid needs his ass whooped, too, if he does that.
So, okay, we've had incidents where a black kid might have done something stupid, graffiti or something, and a cop whooped his ass. And we got mad. So I don't want to give people a reason to say, all right, we're having a double standard. Because you could say that.
Yeah.
I don't want to give people ammo. I hate people throwing stuff back in my face. Like, oh, so you don't care about this. But if the roles were reversed, it'd be a national nightmare, national outcry.
Anybody would be frustrated, all I'm saying. If somebody...
Oh, I told you, somebody broke my windows down, I'm going to have a problem.
Look, man, all I know is I'm here for all the protesting. I think the people that are actually doing it and doing it the right way, like, good for them. Good for.
You think JR is going to get arrested?
He shouldn't.
No, he shouldn't get arrested. That'd be racism there.
I don't know about that. I don't know.
We got to go, man.
But somebody robbed your house tonight. broke into your house and stole all your stuff, and you called him running out the door, you can't shoot him in the back.
I can hit him, beat him up.
You can't. If that guy dies, you're going to be charged with third degree or manslaughter.
If he makes it out the house?
If he's out the house.
Yeah, but you got to get him right to his feet, get to the door.
And you still can't hit him in the back.
But if his body falls out the door, then you got to drag him back in some.
The thing is, it depends on the state. Florida, you could do it. But in Pennsylvania, your life has to be in danger. They have to be a threat.
Look, if he got in my house once, he can get in my house again. That could be a life, and that's a threat. So you got to go.
I'm just telling you, you go to jail.
All right, man. You guys are rambling. Y'all need to go. I got stuff I got to do.
All right.
Yeah, nothing you got to do, man. Shout outs, man. Shout outs, man. What's going on?
Yeah, shout out to all the protesters, man. The ones that are protesting, the ones that got their pointer across before the officer was arrested, or former officer was arrested. You know, whoever got their pointer across and made that all happen, and if they had to do a few illegal things to get justice, okay, fine. Well, at some point, all the craziness needs to stop, and we need to continue to protest. We need to do it in a way that our neighbors aren't going to have to pay for it or worry about their insurance money coming in to cover their business, things like of that nature. So shout out to the protesters, the real protesters, not the opportunists.
Smart, you got any shout outs?
Yeah, shout out to all the chiefs, mayors, public officials that got out amongst the protesters and let the people get some stuff off their chest. People want to be heard, and there were some really good chiefs that usually chiefs don't go against cops, but they went out there and they let the people speak. Shout out to the ones we have in this city. We're lucky to have a minority mixed council. We have a good mayor in Sriracha. We got Sergeant Morant. We got good cops that are from the city that are able to get in front of this. And I hope that our protesters protest peacefully and don't destroy our own city.
I agree with that. Like Saturday, it was beautiful to watch the protest here in Lancaster, PA. I mean, it was nice. It was people of all races just out here, you know, protesting for better and equal rights. So shout out to everybody that is still out there protesting right now. I heard it's getting a little scary right now. They're talking about it. This is getting a little bit crazy out there right now. I won't go into details. But
I need to know. I'm not on no Facebook or nothing. I'm removed.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you off air. But shout out to the 7-letter family as always. Remember, June 19th is a Soul to Souls with WTCP. We are giving away free shoes for nurses during this pandemic. If any nurse out there is interested in getting a free pair of shoes, just make sure you register at www.thetcpnetwork.com, and you can register for some free shoes and show up on June 19th to our new location on Liberty Street. So other than that, I think we're good. Shout out to everybody, man. Everybody across the country, man. Just make sure you guys just keep the faith, stay positive while we're out there, and keep fighting the good fight. Other than that, stay laid up, stay prayed up, stay out the way, and listen to what some old folks have to say. See you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in.